everyone, welcome. For anyone new to my channel, if this is the first video of mine you've ever clicked on, my name is Risa and I started working as a makeup artist back in 1996. And in addition to recommending and reviewing products on my channel, I do spend a lot of time giving out professional tips that I have learned over the course of my career. And today I thought I would share with you 5 things that makeup artists do that you most likely aren't doing. Perhaps it's just due to time constrictions, maybe you're in a hurry, or maybe you just haven't practiced these things enough to feel comfortable doing them. So again, I've got 5 things that we makeup artists do when we have a client in our chair that you probably aren't doing, that if you do, will take your makeup to the next level, will give you that professional look, as if you just paid $100, $200, heck, I know makeup artists that are charging upwards of $500 for a full face makeup application. So we're gonna learn some things, maybe reinforce some things. So without any further ado, let's get started. First thing I would do when someone would sit in my chair to get their makeup done is I would give their face a little bit of a massage with either a face oil or a moisturizer, depending on their skin type. That is because massaging the face is going to stimulate blood flow, increasing circulation. Not only that, it's very relaxing. And as we all know, doing something relaxing can lower our heart rate, which a lot of us need these days. There's a lot of stress and anxiety in most of our lives. So any extra form of relaxation we can get, I don't know about you, but I'll gladly take it. And if you want to take this one step further, you can do your gua sha routine before applying your makeup. Or I personally love to use my Zip device. This is a microcurrent device that I've spoken about in previous videos a couple of times, and I just love to use this before an event because I really feel like it gives a nice lift to my cheek and to my eyebrow area. The next thing that we professional makeup artists do that you probably aren't doing, although I think there has been a shift towards using your hand as a palette or an actual palette. And this palette can be used for mixing in a serum with your foundation, mixing 2 foundations together. You will never see a professional makeup artist take foundation and just apply it directly to their client's face, nor will you see them put it directly onto a brush or a sponge. You can purchase a palette like this on Amazon very inexpensively, or you can just use the back of your hand. I'm going to demonstrate on the back of my hand. And that is going to take me into the third thing that makeup artists do that you might not be doing, because a lot of people are afraid to mix. They're afraid to mix their products. I think with more and more people looking to social media to learn, there has been a movement toward doing certain things like being more comfortable mixing products. But I still believe, based on the comments I see in response to videos like this, is that a lot of people still aren't mixing. Today I am going to take some foundation and some bronzing drops because I did self-tan. And then I am going to mix the 2 on the back of my hand before applying it to my face. Or you can do another technique that I've shown in recent videos of mine, which is to apply the foundation to the palm of your hand and then really mix it in, kind of smush the brush into the palm of your hand and then apply it. Both ways are going to make it so that the foundation goes on more evenly. The product is more evenly distributed within the brush, which then in turn will help it to go on more evenly. I don't know why I did this side first, because you can obviously see this side much better, but I'll do that again on the other side. Sometimes people ask me why I am turned to the side when I'm doing demonstrations. That is because I don't see very well. And I have this big magnifying mirror from Ilios that I love. And if I put it more, well, I guess I could move it a little bit more towards the camera. If I put it below the camera, the top is going to hit the lens, so I can't do that. Now you might be thinking, Risa, why don't you just get contacts? Well, I've looked into getting contacts, and for some reason they say I'm not a candidate. I don't know if it's because of my astigmatism. I'm not sure. I can't remember what they said, but Every time I go to the eye doctor, they say, yeah, you're not a good candidate for contact lenses. So I do have glasses that I wear more often than not these days. So if I were to wear my glasses while demonstrating, that would be really difficult, especially when trying to demo eye makeup. So I just use my magnifying mirror, which, as I said, kind of has to go off to the side a little bit. But I do try my best for you to be able to see both sides evenly. All right, now it's time to talk about eyeshadow application. When I first started working at a Trish McAvoy counter many years ago, she had these one-pan palettes. These one pans were divided into 4 different colors. The largest portion was your base shade. The tiniest portion was the triple pigmented eyeshadow that you were to use as liner. And I would sit there and watch the other makeup artists. I was one of 7 resident makeup artists at this particular Saks Fifth Avenue at the time, and they were all older than me. I was just starting my career. And something that I noticed they did all the time is they would dip their brush into a bunch of different palettes. Now, as a customer, you might be thinking, well, gosh, I'm not going to buy all of these different palettes. But I swear to you, no lie, when these makeup artists were done doing their clients' makeup, they would buy 2, 3, and 4 palettes so that they could replicate exactly what the makeup artist did. And I was in awe. I mean, these sales would be $400, $500, $600. So of course, because I was just starting off my career and I wanted to do well at the counter, I would go up to them and say, teach me your ways. And now I cannot stop mixing. You don't have to mix palettes, but I highly recommend when working with any palette. By the way, this is one of my new favorites. It's called the Dreamy Dozen Volume 2 from Lawless. Don't be afraid to take your brush and go into multiple shades at a time. You don't have to just use this shade for your crease, this shade for your outer corner, this shade for your liner. Now, I wouldn't say that you should go in with something very light and then something very dark, but for my crease shade, I'm actually tapping very lightly into all 3 of those shades that you just saw. I kind of went on a diagonal, and then I apply it to my lid or wherever I want to place the color. And I'll do the same thing for the outer corners. Maybe I will take my brush and dip into the brown again, but then add a touch of the dark gray, almost black. It's not quite black. And then I'll just sort of pat that on the outer corners. I believe, even though I haven't worked with other makeup artists side by side in a long time, I would venture to guess that most makeup artists are still doing this sort of thing today, where they're not just dipping their brush into one shade and then going in with that. I mean, I will take on occasion just one shade to maybe diffuse the top a little bit, but I am always mixing shades together. Just dipping my brush sort of haphazardly into different shades and just seeing what I come up with. And it usually turns out really beautiful. Which leads me into the 4th thing that makeup artists do that you probably aren't doing. You probably aren't using the light touch, or you probably don't have the light-handedness that makeup artists have. When you are a professional makeup artist, touch is extremely important. Touch and pressure. Kind of like when I was talking about the massage. You don't want to be beating somebody's face. You want it to be relaxing and comfortable. So same thing with your brushes. You don't want to be just kind of pressing really hard, or if you're doing your blush, you don't want to just be sort of smashing product into your skin. And something else we would do at Trish McAvoy is we would have the customer do the other side of their face. We would do one side, and then we would hand the mirror and the brush and the product over to the customer so that we could teach them how to do the other side. And that is one thing I remember vividly, is that most people would take that brush and they would just kind of hold it down here like a pencil and really smush it in. They would kind of go like this with their eyeshadow. And that is 100% something you don't want to be doing. The farther you hold the brush handle, the lighter the pressure is going to be. And that is what you want. You want very light pressure. Again, I'm kind of tapping into both shades. and you just want to kind of like barely touch. That is how you get the most professional eyeshadow application. Mixing colors and using a very soft touch when you apply and blend. A video I highly recommend you watching is one by Makeup by Ariel, and I will link it in the description box. He does this very popular TikToker influencer's makeup. Her name is Meredith Duxbury. And in this video, he does the most stunning, I think, makeup on her. And if you watch him do the eyes, he is honestly barely touching. It looks like he's not even touching her skin. He's like this. And even though I have been using a light hand for years on myself and clients, watching that video made it so I used even less pressure. So when I'm blending eyeshadow, oh, it was this brush that I used. I really just am using such a soft touch, and you get the most beautiful diffused blend of your life. And finally, let's talk about your makeup brushes. I don't care if you are using a $50 makeup brush or a $10 makeup brush. If those brushes are not clean, you are not going to get the result you're looking for. Or let's just say you're not going to get the optimum results, which I think is what we all want anytime we sit down and do our makeup. If your brushes look like this, and you are hoping to get a professional finished look, it's not going to happen. Can you do your makeup with dirty brushes? Of course you can. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect and that I've never used a blush brush that looks like this. But what I can tell you is if you have an occasion where you just want your makeup to look like a professional did it, I highly recommend that the night before you wash those brushes. A makeup brush cleanser that a lot of professionals use is this one from Cinema Secrets. If you just Google how to wash your makeup brushes properly, a ton of videos are going to come up with different methods that you can try. Find the one that works best for you and make sure that you are washing your brushes at least once a week. A lot of people, including me, make it their Sunday evening ritual or maybe their Sunday morning ritual. Just go to your sink, grab your makeup brushes, and spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how many brushes you have, to get them really cleaned. And then lay them all out on a towel to dry overnight. Or you can invest in a makeup drying rack. What you don't want to do is leave the brushes sitting upright to dry, because what happens then is that the water seeps down into the brush and can make the hairs come loose a lot quicker and make the glue come loose a lot quicker. You may find that you are losing some bristles, some brush hairs, the next time you go to use that brush after cleaning it, and that is completely normal. The amount of shedding differs, however. If you have spent $40 or $50 on a makeup brush and it is shedding constantly over and over after it's been washed, then that is not a high quality brush. You should expect a little bit of shedding, but it should not be constant. I have had some of my makeup brushes for 10 years. I can promise you that if you do everything I showed you in this video when applying your makeup, it will look like a professional has done it, and you have saved yourself hundreds of dollars. So even if you can't give yourself a face massage every time you sit down to do your makeup, or you can't spend time mixing foundations, that's totally okay. What I ultimately want you to take from this video is that these are some techniques, these are some things that you can do if you're simply wanting to take your makeup skills up a notch. Maybe it's for a wedding. Maybe it's your wedding, maybe it's your child's wedding, maybe it's your niece or nephew's wedding, maybe it's a bar mitzvah, maybe it's a graduation, maybe you're getting professional photos taken, maybe it's a date night. Again, it's whatever occasion you want your makeup to look like a professional did it. Or you can do it every day. I I want to thank you all so much for watching, and if you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, I really appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will consider hitting that subscribe button and joining the Risa Does Makeup family. I do post new content at least twice per week. You can also find more content from me over on Instagram and TikTok. My username is Risa Does Makeup on all platforms. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.